Have you ever been called the strong one so many times that it stopped feeling like a compliment? Being the strong one means people assume that you're okay when you might not be. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to No Sight Required and this episode of the Happy Hour, a place where I talk about all things regarding authentic happiness. So today, I want to start with a real simple question. Are you that midlifer who does everything for everyone else, shows up as the warrior, the referee, the caregiver, the stable one, the listener, the family planner, fixer, and reminder? I think there comes a point in many women's lives where being the strong one can feel less like recognition and more like an expectation. You're the one who, seems to figure out all the family issues. You're the one who just keeps going no matter what. You're the one people assume is fine because you've always somehow managed to be fine, even when you really weren't. And what happens when you're not fine? What happens when the strong one is tired and is the one needing the support? So that's where I'm heading today with this episode of the Happy Hour. You know what? This is an honest conversation, and I feel it's incredibly helpful for those who have difficulty being the one who requires the support and then asking for it. I think a lot of women, especially by midlife, understand this feeling more than they really care to admit. Now, listen, I've been that woman without a doubt. I had times in my life where I was functioning. I was showing up. I was doing what was needed to be done and being all things for everyone who needed me to be that. But inside, I was tired in a way that, I couldn't really explain. So let me share just with you an example of that in my life. Okay. Being fiercely independent in my former sighted life meant never asking for help and never admitting that I was overwhelmed at times. Always, disguising myself as holding it together in every storm, during every setback, problem, and chaos. When I lost my vision, it was the most difficult thing that I had to do. I had to truly admit that I needed help and that being independent was, it was no longer an option for me. The thing is, and the biggest lesson of all, is when I surrendered to the help, leaning on others for the necessary support in order for me to maintain a life as normal as possible for a blind person. Like managing my responsibilities of home ownership, being a dog mom, managing my online correspondence and my bills. It was when I finally surrendered to the help that I really truly needed and no longer being that strong, independent woman. You know what? That I realized that I was able to maintain my independence. Now go figure on that. So, this is important for women to realize this. Asking for support is not a weakness. And by our midlife years, many women have spent decades being the independent, the dependable, the strong one. They've carried families and jobs and emotions and transitions and expectations and sometimes storms that no one even knew about. Here's what I think is important to say right now. Being strong doesn't mean that you don't need support. It means that you've just survived a lot. That's it. But you were never meant to carry everything alone. Being the strong one is a noble value, but there's also a cost when everyone sees you as strong and forgets to ask if you're okay, or they no longer ask because you've trained them not to. So the big question to reflect on is this: what are you carrying that you don't have to carry alone anymore? You know what? It isn't your job to look after everyone else while ignoring yourself. In order to, make others okay, doesn't mean that you have to give up your own inner peace and your balance. It doesn't mean that you know, have to quietly lose touch with yourself, tax your emotional body, or even dismiss what your own needs are. And just because you do, because, well, you're capable, doesn't mean you should. Now, this is an important distinction, don't you think? Where in your life can asking for support become a strength? As within my own example, asking for support kept me independent in my home. As a single woman with my dogs, running a business, writing a book even, and traveling. Your inner peace is valuable, and it deserves you to nurture it. And here's a simple, easy, happy hack for you. Don't let the simplicity of this happy hack fool you into thinking that it's not effective, because I believe it is. So just, you know what? Humor me. Try it on, okay? I think you'll soon realize that there is power in it. And it's simply this: name what feels heavy to you. Just name it. Give it a name and how you're feeling. Tell yourself the truth. Ask yourself, what feels heavy right now to me? And then, do I have to carry this alone? Is it okay that I ask for help? The idea here isn't to fix it or judge it or attempt to create a plan of action around it. Just name it. Your peace begins the moment you stop pretending that you're okay and ignore the truth of what you're feeling. So my heart's request for all those midlifers out there: pay attention to where you could be supported and where you could put something down in order to reclaim your inner peace, your joy, and your authentic happiness. Okay, that's it. Thank you for listening. And if this landed for you, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. It's the only way that I know to speak to the algorithms and to get my message to those who need it, need to hear this. Now, you would be helping me accomplish that. And you know what? I would truly appreciate it. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.